Yeah, because I mean, it- yes, yes, yeah. So let's make a start to this last session of the day, which I'm afraid we have very tight time constraints because we have a very panel and some industrial talks afterwards, but we have a very significant constraint, okay? At 7 o'clock or roughly that, it's dinner time as well, okay? So there's a balance between how long people can talk and how long the audience will stay without getting their dinner, in a sense. So you have to be entertaining as a panel, okay? So today we've broken the session basically into two parts. One, we've got four very distinguished panelists here. And I apologize, I will say Sato-san, who's one of the corporate senior vice presidents, chief technology officer, chief information security officer at Toshiba Corporation. We've got Tanaka-san, who is the quantum AI cloud research team at the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology. We have Dasha, I will not try and pronounce your last name, who is both a professor at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and also associated with Entity Research Inc. in the US. And we have one of my very old colleagues, Morimae-san, from the Yukawa Institute for Theoretical Physics in Kyoto. So what we're going to do today really is two of our speakers, two of the panel have already spoken. So we're going to ask our industrial people to give a brief presentation for about 10 minutes each. And then we get to ask some very difficult questions about how do we do industrial research? What's industry looking for? And almost all the panel here has some perspective in this. So please come to the stage. So please come and set up. So our first speaker almost does not need much of an introduction. We've put a brief bio up here, but he has a very long history in promoting science and technology at Toshiba. You've held many, many senior positions. And for those of you, given the slides have just gone, from our perspective here, one of his greatest accomplishments was as one of the managers of Toshiba Labs in Cambridge, where we know that all the QKD pioneering work came out. So please, take it away.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Bill. So good evening, and thank you very much for inviting me to TQC 2024. I really looking forward to joining your event and to show Toshiba's activities related to quantum business and quantum research. So today, Bill gave me about 10 minutes to talk. So first I will show you outline of the company and our activities related to quantum, then give some hint how to fill the gap between the industry and academia. So committed to the people, committed to the future is Toshiba's group visions. The vision always motivated our employees to desire to improve the society or human beings' lives, leading new products and innovations. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So under this vision, now our management teams set the policy. Here you can see to building an infrastructure that everyone can enjoy, and building a society connected by data, because the data is quite important for the future, and eventually achieving carbon neutrality and the circular economy. In order to achieve the management missions, we identified DE, digital revolution, DX, and the QX, quantum transformation strategy. So now the word DX is quite popular, becomes quite popular, but we, Toshiba, wants to further develop from the stage of DX to QX to create a quantum community where collecting a lot of data in different industrial areas, securely protected by power of quantum, and then to provide, to achieve a sustainable society or well-being society by using the power of quantum. So in that sense, I want to say that the Toshiba is one of the company who already have set the quantum technology into the company's strategy. Actually, we have two commercial products and service in the area of quantum. Number one is the quantum key distribution systems. So I don't want to say in details the mechanism of QKD. Probably you know well. This is a security solution to provide absolutely secure links, either with an optical fiber or on the air. And thanks to the long-term research in Toshiba, our commercialized QKD product platforms is the world best in quantum key delivering speed, as well as key delivery distance with optical fiber. Actually, this QKD system are now implemented or under being tested in many cities. So Toshiba's researchers or employees are traveling a lot around the world, such like New York or Chicago in the United States. We have a trial in London, UK, and Paris, France. And also we have trials in Korea, Singapore. Also we have done several ones in Japan, Tokyo, and the Tohoku areas. The key technologies of Toshiba's QKDs were invented in Toshiba Cambridge Research Laboratory in UK in the period of year 2000 to 2010. As Bill mentioned, I also worked there at the moment. From 2005, we have started to hiring not only quantum researchers, but also researchers in the field of computer science or communications and electronic engineers in order to build up good QKD systems. And actually, many key technologies now we are using as a commercial product is invented by such a diverse technology team in Cambridge. So let's move on to the next service. We also providing a service of quantum-inspired easing machines. Easing machine is a special machine to give a solution for very large-scale combinatorial optimization problems. Such problems show up in the many actual fields, such like to figure out investment portfolio for finance trading, or finding out optimal route in logistics, or either in designing drugs and materials. And there's an increase of number of elements of the problem. The problem began to be so complex that existing digital computer cannot give solutions. Only either quantum easing machine or quantum inspired easing machine, which is working on digital computer, could give a solution. And Toshiba developed our own unique algorithm for quantum-inspired easing machines. This algorithm, named SBM, Simulated Verification Machine, was actually inspired by our own theoretical research of quantum computers, named QBM, Quantum Verification Machine. One day, our quantum researchers find that QBM equation, shown in the above, can be transformed into the Hamiltonian mechanics equations. Then he also identified that this transformed equation could give a solution for the easing problem. Hamiltonian equations can be processed with using digital computers or with using a fast processing method with the digital computer. So he have discussed with another researchers in the field of computer science, and then they agreed to build up the special machine for this SBM algorithm. And they eventually found that this SBM is the world best at the moment to solve the very accurate solution for the very large scale of combinatorial optimization problem. Now, we're providing this SBM as a cloud-based service and testing a lot of applications like designing drugs or using the algorithm for finance trading. And also, some of our researchers, engineers, now trying to implement this SBM systems onto the vehicle for autonomous driving. So this is quantum-powered automotives. The idea of ours is to use SBM for multi-object tracking. Probably you know well, so in autonomous driving, it is crucial to accurately tracking pedestrians or other moving objects around the vehicles. And we have a lot of problems in with the digital computer. So our team of this project members can implement the in-vehicle SBM board shown in the left side. So consisting of AI processing board, especially for image processing and object detection, and also SBM processing board for object multi-tracking. And as you can see, the right side, hand side, the system can perform real-time tracking of pedestrians, even pedestrians once temporarily hide behind the car and reappear after them. So the system can resolve the problem famous as occlusion problem. So now I want to consider what are the key for our innovations. So this diagram is proposed by Professor H. Yamaguchi, working in Kyoto University, then moved to University of Tokyo. So with his several investigation of what kind of paradigm shifting innovation, mainly in the field of semiconductor, like blue LEDs, he found that the newly acquired knowledge in the horizontal axis is a driver for the paradigm shifting innovations. Such newly acquired knowledge is acquired or done by usually basic research or scientific research. That's why quantum basic research is now quite important. But he also identified that only newly acquired knowledge can give less innovation. The important things or key is how to combine the newly acquired knowledge with existing knowledge or existing technologies like that. So also this kind of innovation, I give some example with in-vehicle SPM systems. So this is my final slide. Well, so what I want to say here is now, in order to make a quantum future innovation, it is quite important. Of course, many younger people learn the quantum or quantum informations. But at the same time, I also emphasize the math is really important. Because for me, who studied mechanical engineering, quantum is too spooky to understand. But once it is written as a math formula, we could modify it for target application of ours. And also, I would like to ask younger people joining here today to learn about some other measures like computer science, AI, materials, whatever. Because convergence of technology is quite important or a key driver for new innovations. So, you know, such existing technology or existing knowledge we hold in the industrial areas. This is why we need a collaboration with academia who could exploit the new knowledge in the field of quantum. Thank you very much.
We're going to hold questions for the moment and move to our second session. So let's first of all thank Sata-san once more. Don't worry. We're not yet at the quantum is too advanced for what we can do with classical projectors and various things at the moment. Yeah. So my suggestion, while we try and solve this technical problem, let's move to our discussion and we'll come back at the end to this. So given we have a number of panelists here and the theme being quantum and industry and how we move it, I mean, we're open to questions from the panel, but I do have one or two tough ones myself because panelists, you have to earn your dinner tonight, okay? And just because I want to make sure that we can keep you on, keep you on the straight and narrow. I'll ask the first question and we will choose randomly from the audience who should start answering. And the first question is what are the scientific challenges bringing exciting research results into industrial relevance? Who should answer that question? Morimae. We will go along the panel in a sense.
So maybe so QKD is experimentally implemented now, but now many quantum cryptographers find that there are other cryptographic primitive protocols. So maybe industry can try to implement that one, for example.
Follow up? Further suggestions?
I didn't understand the first part of the question. So
Okay,
could I
so
request you to
let me
repeat
reread
that once again?
the question. What are the challenges for bringing exciting research results to industrial relevance? So in our labs, academically, we can do whatever we want. We can do is abstract stuff. We can check are cats alive or dead, but how do cats being alive or dead or violating Bell inequalities lead to new technologies that are relevant to industry?
Right. I think one of the challenges is exactly, you know, as researchers, we often like to, or at least I often like to think about the most foundational question I can find and want to answer questions about what is the truth of the universe. And that may not necessarily translate to immediate industrial impact, although I would argue that these are some of the most important questions to answer. And eventually industrial impact does come out of like addressing these fundamental questions. That said, I think there are missing roles, I would say, like roles like a research engineer that are tailored to doing research, but with emphasis on impact or on near-term impact in industry. And I think not a challenge, but I guess I'm proposing more of a solution is to have more people trained to fit in those roles and people whose job it is explicitly to try to see how far academic research is from being implementable in industry and accelerate that development.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, we providing a QKD system as a commercial services, but we have actually strategy to expand the capability of our QKD systems with new technology, such like we discussed with Bill, the quantum delay or something like that to extend the key delivery distance. So we actually, as a company, we are looking for the new technologies which could be used to our commercial systems. Then we need to understand what quality, how this academia research can have achieved and what remaining issues are there for us to understand when such a technology could be available for our commercial systems or something like that. So yeah, close collaboration or communication is really important to understand what we want from the industrial side, what they can provide from academia side. Thank you.
Sorry, I cannot catch the question.
Quantum is slow. So what are the challenges for bringing exciting research results to industrial relevance? And given where you work, industrial relevance is important.
Yeah, so we need collaboration field or place to collaborate with many stakeholders like industry user and academia people and so on. So in my talk, I will bring some idea to how to take a place for our institution.
So you've given the perfect introduction to your talk.
Thank you.
And this was not scripted, so please come up. Given your talk is available, given we know this is a quantum world, we're not sure how long this presentation will exist on screen. So Tanako-san is going to talk to us today about AIST's quantum computing arena for quantum future and industry development. So please.
Thank you for kind introduction. I'm Ryosei Takano from AIST Japan. So today I'm going to talk about vision of AIST quantum computing arena for quantum future industry development. So I hope this is an essential step to build a robust quantum workforce. So this is very busy slide, sorry. But first, let's look ahead at what Japan's future industry will be shaped by. So this slide shows the strategy of quantum future industry development in Japan. So this strategy mentioned 10 million quantum technology user will be produced, and 50 trillion yen will be produced through quantum technology companies by 2030. So achieving these ambitious goals require more than just creating advanced technologies. It demands building skilled quantum workforce. G-QuAT is established at AIST in 2024 last year. 2023 last year, based on this strategy. G-QuAT stands for Global Research and Development Center for Business by Quantum AI Technologies. So other research institutions basically focus on basic quantum research and science. But in contrast, our mission is support industrialization and commercialization of quantum technologies. So one of the key milestones in our journey is creation of a dedicated space where quantum computer technology can be explored, tested, and compared. I'm excited to announce quantum computing arena is coming in spring of 2025. This arena will bring together many kinds of quantum computing technologies in one place, and so allowing us to compare their performance and discover their potential. This arena also will advance collaboration, competition, and innovation, and driving variable application development. For this arena, we will introduce ABCIQ. This is a large-scale GPU-based supercomputer dedicated for quantum computing. You can use large-scale quantum circuit simulation and also quantum-inspired machine like digital annealer, Fujitsu digital annealer, and fixed stars amplifier. And also, I'm thinking about Fujitsu SQBM. And also, we will set up 3 types of on-premise quantum computer. First one is QLA's neural atom. Second one is Fujitsu's superconducting. And last one is a photonics computer. And these computers are located in our campus in Tsukuba. So this slide shows the overview of our facility. And this facility is not only about advancing technology, but also about developing quantum workforce. We expect this facility to play a crucial role in workflow training, giving researcher, engineer, and user the opportunity to grow their expertise in real-world problem through the collaboration with many stakeholders. Let's dive into ABCIQ. This is a hardware configuration. We have 2000 NVIDIA H100 GPU, total AI performance is 2.1 exaflop, and total high-speed memory capacity is about 150 terabyte. It is large enough to run more than 40 qubits state-based simulations. ABCIQ is a hub of several types of quantum computers, including GPU-based quantum-inspired machine and on-premise computers. So you can find what is best hardware for your application, or what is best combination for your application. This is a software stack. You can see AI and machine learning library and framework, as well as quantum libraries and framework on top of HPC software stack. So you can access on-premise quantum computers through a job scheduler and workflow orchestrator. So here, openness is important. So you can easily migrate your application developed in ABCIQ to another platform like IBM Q. So this slide shows the basic services of ABCIQ. We provide execution environment to users to meet users' needs from small scale to large scale. And user can use standard tools like Qiskit, CUDA-Q, PyTorch, etc. In addition, so we support web-based portal for submit job, file operation, and launching GUI application like Jupyter Lab. So we have ABCI Grand Challenge program where the user can use all compute resources for 24 hours with no charge. This, as a result of previous program, 41 qubits vector state-based simulation and 45 qubit MPS simulation are successfully done using 500 GPUs. And also we are hosting several seminar and hackathon program. For instance, last month, we have CUDA-Q and QReports hands-on seminar in cooperation with NVIDIA and Kinesis. So this is the last slide. So survey paper reported coding and data analysis are top required skill in quantum industry, but such skill workforce very limited. To narrow this gap, it is important to set up a place giving developer, researcher, and user the opportunity to access various quantum computing technologies. So this is quantum computing arena at AIST. So it will be available in spring of 2025. So stay tuned, and thank you for your attention.
So let's move back to the panel question. I want to ask one more question myself before I kind of ask the audience for a question. And I thought I should ask a very tough question, okay? Do you have some tips for researchers that want to transition from academia to industrial positions? What I'll say is it's an important question given I've just done the opposite. So tell me why I've made a mistake. So I've recently moved from industrial to academia, but why should researchers think about moving from academia to research? Who wants to start? Please, you have a mic. Okay, the other side. Academia to industry.
I think now is the timing for a lot of academia people consider to moving to the industry areas because, yeah, the quantum business has just started, I believe. And as I mentioned, we need, as an industrial companies, we need a deep quantum technology knowledge in order to realize applications. As I mentioned, we have a lot of engineering knowledge or technologies, which can be combined with a deep quantum technology ideas or knowledge. So it should be a timing. What else I want to say? No, yeah, I entirely believe. So any students, young academia, please ask me if we could work together. Thank you.
Yeah, so particularly, so AI field, so company are attracted from many people. So it is time to transition in also quantum area. So, but it takes time, a little bit, a few years.
What about our other two panelists? No free dinner.
So, so I've been in academia all this time, and this year, very recently, I've also been affiliated with NTT Research. My role there is still fundamental research because that is what I love to do. So when looking at potential, industry positions, things to do in industry, something that was important to me as an academic was to have the freedom to work on problems that I care about. And so me personally, I looked for like, an industry position that would offer that to me. But I think more broadly, I guess as general advice, since that's what the question asks for, I'd say maybe find positions that allow you to do work that you enjoy doing.
One reason that academia people don't want to go to industry is so academia people want to do the research of quantum information for long times, but usually in industry sometimes stop the research of quantum information, for example, in 3 years or 5 years. So maybe if industry people want to hire many academia people, industry people must guarantee that they will continue research of quantum information for very long time.
So let me make a point from that, from my own experience. So the various companies I've worked for, and I mean NTT or Toshiba, HP, and various things like this, we've had probably over 25-year history in this particular field. So I think one of the things, especially in Japan, industry really is probably doing potentially longer term research than what you're doing within the university environment. Because one of the things that companies in Japan, I think very much like, is that we're prepared, or most Japanese industries are prepared to fund a program for 5, 10, 15 years. And we don't have to worry about applying for the next research grant for the next 3 years. I mean, when I was a manager at NTT, the young staff were saying, don't tell me what you're going to do now for the next 12 months. What's your vision? Where are you going to be in 5 years, 10 years time? What's the key milestone that you need to do this? And if we've got to spend 3 years allowing you to build a lab to allow that to happen, that's a possibility. In the university environment, I think this is tricky in a sense. So I think that's one of the things that especially Japanese industry is very good at. But given that I know time is pressing, is there a question from the audience that they want an answer to? Everyone in the audience? So please come down to the mic. I mean, I have questions galore. That's why I brought paper, but.
All right, quite a journey. Hello. So the work I've been doing on quantum computing has involved talking to a lot of companies in the industry about sort of their, what they imagine using with the quantum computer and what they want to do with it. And a major problem is that there is so much inertia in these companies in terms of just their classical computing, right? A quantum computer is exciting because it can beat the best classical machine, hopefully, but so many people are nowhere near using the best classical machines and the best classical solutions, right? So how much of a challenge do you see that being in sort of like imagining we have the quantum computer implementing its usefulness when we're so slow in doing the best we can with classical machines.
I think, Sata-san, this is a perfect question
Yeah,
for you,
thank you very
given your
much.
position.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. But from 3 years ago, with Toshiba joining a research program with the University of Tokyo, where we can access IBM quantum computers. And we put several researchers, not only from the quantum technology areas, but also AI or some other domains like a material design, to utilize a quantum computer and to find what happened next. So then, so far, I think more than 10 to 20, yeah, about 20 researchers are access to the IBM quantum computers. And everyone identified there are so many huge potential in the area of AI, material design. So then they are asking their neighbors or colleagues or friends to join the program to access the quantum computers. So you are entirely correct, but I strongly believe quantum computer has a huge potential for industries, and the younger researchers or engineers already have identified that.
Any follow-up questions from our other panelists?
I think currently there is no environment to compare quantum and classical performance. So this is the motivation to provide quantum computing arena in AIST.
Of course.
Thank you. So in Japan, we have an industrial consortium named the QStar to enhance or accelerating quantum-related business. And so far, we have about 100 members, many of them coming from user side, like finance sectors, pharmaceutical sectors, and so on. So they all, how they say, understanding the potential power of quantum technologies, and they are discussing, or now that we are at the stage of learning, but we are discussing more than 100 use cases. Okay. So yeah, in Japan, we are doing quite well. So a lot of people identify the power of quantum technologies.
So I just want to emphasize or back that point up. So QStar is one of the pivotal areas in Japan that have brought not just the big Japanese companies, but all the startup people. These people are joining. So what's been happening recently in Japan, under the guidance of a few people here, and the model-san here, is there's an SIP program where we've been training industry people in the basics of quantum technologies in terms of, yes, they don't need to know the detailed mathematics, but what the concepts are, what the principles are, so that the engineers and various things can find enough knowledge to say, okay, my problems are that, how does that correspond to that? And that seems to be being very, very successful in a sense. So that's one of the things that Japan has kind of realized is important for the development of this particular industry. So thank you. What I should say is, given that time is tight, but I do want to know, is there one final question for our panel? No one? I thought quantum people were bright. We have a panel here, so no one really wants to ask a final question? David. If in doubt, put the local organizer on the spot.
Yeah, so very, very basic question. So what are now the hot topics for quantum industry?
That's a very nice question.
So may I answer? Yeah, there are some, I think, but personally, the recent big topic is now we could access the logical qubit quantum computers provided by Gala And also Professor Furusawa recently proved the GKP qubit. It is also the crucial technology for error-tolerant quantum computers. So I think academia now, our venture companies are opening the new era for quantum computers.
Okay, so given we need to wrap up, why not one final comment from all the panelists? We'll start at the left and move to the right. Right at the left.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, I already told.
I think so one of the questions that was asked a while ago was what are some areas where quantum computers can demonstrably do better than classical computers? And I just want to add to the list that was mentioned that we're discovering that cryptography is also one such area where one of the reasons that quantum was first perceived as interesting was because of Shor's algorithm, which said, well, quantum computers may one day be able to break the crypto we use. So panic and design crypto that's quantum resistant. But in more recent years, we've realized that the fact that quantum information behaves so much differently than classical information really means that we can derive advantages in building better cryptography from it in various settings. And I think that that's another interesting area that's very underexplored. I would say the field started maybe well, at least I guess the field picked up really in the last 4 or 5 years. So this is something that I encourage you all to check out.
Thank you very much. I was growing up with personal computers. First time I touched the personal computer is when I was a high school student. I was so much enthusiastic to do a programming by myself. I also learned a machine language also. Some other friends of mine are also interested in the early stage of internet. And he spent a lot of time in studying the network. And now he's, working a good career in the internet community in the United States. So we are the lucky with the personal computers or with the internet. You are the lucky because now you are growing with quantum technologies. Yeah, I think your curiosity, will open your future, definitely. So please keep in doing a research or keeping your curiosity in spooky quantum phenomena. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm a classical computer guy, but so I'm very excited to use quantum computer right now. So as I showed my presentation, ABCQ will be provided, and other many type of quantum computer is available. So please think about using our facility. Thank you very much.
So let's thank all our panelists once more. They have provided some very enlightening answers. So please go and grab a seat, and we're going to move now to the second part of this particular session, which luckily you don't have to sit in the front. So you can now take any seat you like. I do not recommend the back row, okay? And now what we have is basically we have some talks from our sponsors. There's 3 talks from our sponsors, and then a few talks from some of the Japanese people working in quantum as well. So. Yeah. So you take a mic, Matt. I cannot. Sorry, this is just taking, okay. So basically, we have three talks now. The first one is one of our platinum sponsors who we're very thankful for, from JP Morgan Chase, represented by Dr. Russin. How do I pronounce your surname?
Scheidulin.
Scheidulin, who is the Executive Director of the Global Technology Applied Research. Technology.
All right, thanks everyone. It's great to be here in beautiful Okinawa, and even the rain has let up, so I can see why there's fewer of you here. It's hard to compete with the beach, but thank you for coming. So you've seen in the hallway, we have a poster with our opening job positions, so you already know we're hiring. And my goal for the next few minutes is just to give you a little bit of a flavor of who we are, the kind of work we do, and why hopefully you should join us. But to start, we're Global Technology Applied Research, which I'm here representing, is a team that's not just focused on quantum computing. I'm part of the team that does quantum computing, but there's also a big effort in quantum communications. I think Toshiba on one of the slides pointed out that JP Morgan Chase did some joint work a few years back. It's led by Charles Lim in Singapore. And there are also separate teams working on other research areas. There's a great team working on AR/VR led by Blair McIntyre, formerly of Georgia Tech. The team in other areas as well. The team is based primarily in New York. It's a research team. We publish a lot. You can easily find our papers online, and that'll give you a bit of a flavor of the kind of work that we do. Now on the quantum computing side, which is the area that I am working in, our goals are twofold. So there's a part of the team, and that part of the team is probably much less relevant to you, all of you here, that focuses on very near-term things. And these near-term things are really, quantum-inspired or really randomized algorithms. And the goal here is to do things that, we can run on classical hardware, we can run on GPU, and we can do it within, imagine, 1 year of completion of research projects. And the second part, which is much more relevant to the audience here, and we call it, let's say, de-risk the future, is to really build algorithms that could run on early fault-tolerant quantum computers. So for this, just to make this concrete, you can think of as, let's say, hundreds of logical qubits, let's say billions of gates. Now you can, as you probably, many of you know, this is largely an open problem. There's not a good answer of what to do with this, especially for classical problems. But this is why it's such an exciting area to work in. So our team is led by Marco Pistoia, and there's 3 research areas for which the job positions that are hanging in the hallway right now are distributed across. There's a theory group led by Shovanik Chakrabarty, which focuses on essentially proving speedups. We're interested in new algorithms, new algorithmic mechanisms, and something where you can say something theoretically provable. The second area, which we call implementation execution, which is led by me, is focused on, let's say, circuits and code. So this includes both numerical evaluation of algorithms, benchmarking. I'm going to mention some papers in my talk in this area, but also realization of fault-tolerant quantum computers. So we're building an error correction team. This is new. We already have a couple of people, and we're growing more. And the goal is to take those algorithms and compile them to fault-tolerant architectures. And finally, as I mentioned, there is a quantum-inspired effort that is a separate effort and that really focuses on the near-term impact. So if you're interested in randomized algorithms, things like matrix sketching and so on, consider applying as well. There's open positions across all 3 areas. They're posted in the hallway, but you can also find them on LinkedIn or by searching jpmorganchase.com/careers. Okay. Now, the motivation for the work in quantum computing that we do is the rapid progress in quantum hardware. So you saw Quantinuum stand in the hallway, and they mentioned this result. So this is from the random circuit sampling paper, which we've done jointly with Quantinuum this summer. And on the left is the fidelity estimate. So this is, you can think of it as cross-entropy benchmarking score. But here we plot the results from mirror benchmarking. And you see that at 56 qubits and 20 layers, we have almost 20% fidelity. Compare this with 5 years ago, Google's famous result, it's 0.02%. So rapid progress. And in fact, between when we took the data for the paper in May and now, this has improved by 10 more percentage points. It's hard to make claims of was it whether it beyond classical or not. But if you just take state-of-the-art techniques and look at the cost of doing this classically, you're looking at some astronomical number of years on frontier just simply because your flops count with memory constraint blows up. And this rapid progress in quantum hardware opens the question, well, what are we going to do with these early fault-tolerant devices? Clearly, experimentalists are doing a great job building them. What can we run on them? Now, one appealing thing is optimization, especially for financial institution, partially because it's omnipresent, but also because you don't have to deal with loading large amount of data. Problems are concise, and maybe on small number of qubits, you can formulate a problem that's already classically hard. Now, as Ryan's going to talk later, and Ryan is, among other things, famous for, is the biggest enemy of all theorists for writing that paper about how surface code is really has really high overhead, and we can just do Grover speedups. And so these are insufficient. And one thing that we're interested in is looking at heuristics, trying to make rigorous statements about heuristics that leverage, let's call them novel mechanisms, leverage mechanisms beyond amplification of standard adiabatic evolution. Now, let me highlight a few recent results. This is by no means an exhaustive survey, it's a short industry talk, but my goal is to give you a bit of a flavor of the kind of work we've done recently. So on one hand, we're very interested in QAOA. The reason we're interested in QAOA really is because we had this paper a year ago showing some evidence that QA offers an algorithmic speedup, making it a meaningful algorithmic building block. And this was achieved in very classical simulation and by doing some benchmarking. And to further make QA practical, we're interested in also QA parameter fine-tuning. So there was some work on doing this in very short frugal regime that is relevant to EF-TQC. And the second area that I want to highlight here is doing optimization with techniques other than standard adiabatic evolution or amplification. So two recent results I want to highlight. One is on constraint optimization, so doing adiabatic evolution in the entirety of evolution in the in-constraint space by modifying the Hamiltonian with which you're doing the adiabatic evolution. And the second is combining local counter-adiabatic driving with some additional terms to improve performance further. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. I want to highlight a paper by one of our interns that was a QIP talk this year in Taipei, which was on characterizing barren plateaus. Yes, let me say a few words about this QAO results, since I had it on the slides so prominently. So the way this result works is we look at the labs problem. Labs problem defined on series of spins. Unconstrained, you define autocorrelation. It's a quadratic polynomial on spins. And then your energy is sum squared of these polynomials. So you get a quartic polynomial on spins. That's the labs problem. You want to minimize, you want to find a sequence of spins that minimizes its quartic polynomials on spins. Now, the nice thing about this problem is it's a very hard problem. So you can look at the classical paper studying this problem, and they have some results on their scaling, and the results are going to be something like, and they will write this explicitly. They will write our scaling is 1.73 to the n, or 1.34 to the n for heuristics. And then you can take those solvers, you can run them, and you can see that already up to 40 spins, the scaling is saturated. Now, for comparison, something like MIS, the famous APX hard problem, the scaling of even exact commercial solvers, which is sort of the simplest thing you can possibly do, is 1.02 to the n. So it's a much easier problem. So the large scaling is what enables you to differentiate between the classical and quantum methods. And so then you can just simulate QAOA, or you can simulate your favorite quantum algorithm. And what you find out is you find out the scaling. So this, we just took this and ran it up to 40 qubits on 1,000 GPUs. If you're paying attention, you might have noticed that AIST had 42 qubits on 500 GPUs. The reason we have fewer qubits is because to make this faster, we pay some space overhead. So we have a little bit of memory overhead to improve the performance. With this, we obtain the scaling of QAOA, and just comparing the exponent to the exponent of classical solvers, we see that QAOA combined with quantum minimum finding scales better than state-of-the-art heuristics, which is mimetic for this problem. We believe that this is one of the first strong evidence that QAOA provides an algorithmic speedup, super Grover algorithmic speedup, motivating all the work on compiling it to fault-tolerant architectures. Okay, so this is great. Now let's say we want to run it in practice. For this, typically we want to, in addition to taking the fixed parameters, let's say come from infinite size limit, we also want to do some small scale local parameter fine tuning. And then the problem we hit already on the hardware today is that the best performing systems are quite slow. So these are again numbers from the random circuit sampling paper we did with Quantinuum. And on the y-axis the time, and you're seeing that we're looking at 1 to 2 seconds per shot. So if you want to do thousands of shots, that adds up pretty quick. So another great, it's an industry project from one of our interns from last summer, is to develop essentially an end-to-end pipeline for doing this parameter fine-tuning and efficiently, which combines highly optimized components, including the parameter setting, initial parameter setting, as well as short budget allocation, hyperparameter tuning, and so forth, which is accelerated with some compressed set sensing techniques also jointly developed with University of Wisconsin in Madison. And in fact, you can then take this and you can run this on Quantinuum hardware, and you can actually do fine-tuning on device within a modest number of shots. Another result I want to highlight outside of QAOA is on counter-diabetic driving. So of course, shortcuts to adiabaticity, including counter-diabetic driving, are well known to give you better performance. However, to do them in practice, you have to typically know a lot of things about the properties of instantaneous Hamiltonian, and additionally, you have to implement complex terms. So in this work, which was led by Chan-Hao Lee, we propose a two-step protocol which combines local counter-diabetic driving with a local unitary. And the trick is that the local unitary, even though it's only single-body terms, it induces many-body terms, effective many-body terms. And you can see that you can show that it performs pretty well on, in this case, we just did it on TFIM, and you can even run it on hardware on modest number of qubits. So this is a very resource-efficient algorithm. Now, beyond the early fault-tolerant era, I want to highlight one line of research that was led by Niraj Kumar, which focused on machine learning. So of course, machine learning is very, very important, very essential to many businesses, including ours. But the particular aspect we're interested in is privacy. So typically, especially for a regulated institution, privacy is often required. Like you have to provide certain guarantees. And moreover, it's of course desired for clients, especially when the data is so sensitive. So here I want to highlight two recent areas of work that focus on distributed machine learning setting. So the problem is that if you're using classical solution like federated learning, in federated learning, you share the gradient information from local service, you aggregate the gradient information, and you compute the update. And the challenge is that often this causes data leakage. So by inverting the gradient, you can obtain the training data. So on one hand, if you are in quantum communication settings, so that's on the left, you can use some quantum secret sharing protocols to more efficiently share encoded gradient. So in this case, you just protect the gradient with a cryptographic scheme, and you reduce the communication overhead by using quantum communication. And on the right side, this is taking variational quantum circuits as the model. And now you're just communicating the gradient in plane, but you're asking the question of whether for variational quantum circuits, I can obtain the training data from the gradient information. And it's a twofold result. On the negative side, if your DLA is small enough, you can essentially use similar ideas to GSIM to obtain cause privacy breach. And on the other hand, if the circuit is hard enough, then you cannot extract the input. So with this, hopefully, this sort of random walk through our research has given you a bit of a flavor of the kind of things that the team is thinking about, the kind of things the team is interested in. And if you're interested, please apply to our open positions. Thank you.
So I'm afraid we're not going to take questions, but you will be around for dinner, I assume?
Yeah.
So our second sponsor here probably needs no introduction. But I should do so. Ryan Babbage is from Google's Quantum AI, where he's the Director of Research for the Quantum Algorithms and Applications arena. Please take it away.
All right. Yeah, so I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the quantum team at Google. So at Google, our mission is to lead the world in the development of useful quantum computing. So we're in the business of actually building quantum computers, but also trying to figure out how we're eventually going to use those quantum computers and to develop, techniques and methods that make them more useful. So we're very focused on ultimately building a fault-tolerant quantum computer. We think in terms of maybe a decade-long roadmap to build a fault-tolerant computer with on the order of 1 million physical qubits. This roadmap is basically to keep doing larger and larger surface code experiments and make the device modular in certain ways. And I'm pretty excited about the progress that we've been making on this roadmap. So for example, last month we had a paper on arXiv that demonstrated our latest surface code experiments. We were able to do a surface code experiment at distance 7, which involved over 100 physical qubits, and the logical error rate was around 10 to the minus 3. So often we sort of characterize these experiments in terms of this parameter that we call lambda. So you can think of lambda as the error rate of a surface code experiment at distance d divided by the error rate of a surface code experiment at distance d plus 2. And so the lambda that we achieved in this recent experiment was about 2.14. So that means that we're more than halving the error rate every time we're increasing the code distance by 2. So this is basically telling you something about the exponent with which you're exponentially suppressing physical errors in the logical qubit. And so, it's exciting. We've been managing to scale up these experiments, but I think our improvements in Lambda are maybe even more exciting. We did a surface code experiment that we published in Nature last year, and that was sort of the first time we had Lambda greater than 1. Lambda was 1.1. The Lambda is now almost twice that. And that's, I think, quite an encouraging improvement in just about a year's time. And one should note this is sort of a very holistic measure of how well you're doing an error correction experiment. It takes into account, how much leakage there is, how many dropout there, how much dropout there is in fab, what the gate fidelities are, what the readout fidelities are, how good your classical decoding software is. And by the way, we also did real-time decoding for this software. And the coherence time of the logical qubit was about a factor of 2.4 longer than the coherence time of the physical qubits. So I think that's pretty good progress there. We still obviously have quite a ways to go though. So I never know quite how to use the time in these industry talks, but I think a lot of you are probably here because you're sort of curious what it's like to work in industry. You're perhaps wondering, would you fit in an industry? Would you like it? So I have a slide here to say something about sort of how we choose research projects, theory research projects, because this is a theory, conference. So that's probably what you all are interested in. I would say that to some extent, the sort of broad goals of the team are set top down. So, the goals are things like, well, we want to make quantum computing useful. We want to figure out what quantum computers are going to be good for. We want to do error correction. We want to figure out how to do that, et cetera. But the individual research projects are sort of chosen bottom up. So if you're a member of the team, the onus is sort of upon you to come up with research projects that sort of fit within the scope of our goals and to, make a compelling case that this research project is something that is helping to advance those goals. And if you can, make a compelling case and sort of argue to your fellow colleagues and scientists on the team that, we should be devoting resources to this, then you go ahead and do it. And accordingly, if you're someone who's sort of excited about the kind of practically oriented goals that we have, like figuring out how we're going to use quantum computers, within fault tolerance or developing new error correcting codes. If you are someone who's sort of excited by goals like that, then you probably won't feel very restricted working on a team like this because your goals are sort of compatible and the projects you suggest will likely be projects that we're very enthusiastic about. But if you're somebody who wants to study, ADS-CFT or, complexity theory, that is very important and awesome. but it's not something that's sort of tangibly advancing the things that we care about on a day-to-day basis nearly as much. So that might be better in academia or maybe another company. So anyways, the kinds of theory, this is not by any means an exhaustive list, but the sorts of, theory research focuses we have are things like developing new error correcting codes, decoders, protocols, new ways of realizing gates, and that sort of thing. Studying new quantum algorithms. We tend to focus on algorithms with more than a quadratic speedup for reasons that were sort of hinted at in the last talk. New methods to classically simulate quantum computers, both to help us build quantum computers and also to sort of red team and benchmark. All sorts of other things. So tomography, quantumness verification, which is of interest for, sort of demonstrating beyond classical experiments, maybe in a more verifiable way. Compilers, doing resource estimates, quantum learning, device physics, error mitigation, maybe sort of many body physics with an eye towards finding good applications of quantum simulation. So there are all sorts of things. So because I just sort of get 10 minutes to talk about whatever I want, and because, as you've already heard, industry is somewhat obsessed with trying to find quantum advantage and optimization, I wanted to just plug a paper that we had last month that I'm very excited about, and I think that maybe other people in industry should be too. The paper is called Optimization by Decoded Quantum Interferometry, and it was a totally new algorithm that we developed, which really has nothing in common with most Hamiltonian-based approaches to optimization like QAOA or the adiabatic algorithm. The sort of perspective here is to leverage the quantum Fourier transform in a way that helps us construct interference on sort of large values of an objective function. And the algorithm actually has a lot in common with these sorts of reductions from the sort of shortest vector problem to learning with errors. And also things like this algorithm by Yamakawa and Zandri that you might be familiar with. And effectively what's going on is we're using a quantum computer to effect a reduction from classical approximate optimization to classical bounded distance decoding. And sort of the higher error rate you can tolerate in the decoding problem, the better approximation ratio you can get. And you might wonder, are you ever going to win doing that? And it turns out the one thing we can do, which is really quite a contrast to what you can do in QAOA or adiabatic quantum computing, is we're able to tightly and efficiently analyze the performance of this algorithm under a very broad set of circumstances. So I can pretty much always tell you what the approximation ratio we're going to achieve if you tell me, the problem that you're interested in and the decoder that you're going to use in the dual. And with adiabatic quantum computing, the complexity is in terms of a gap that you can never efficiently calculate. And QAOA, it's also, you have to do numerics. It's very difficult to figure out how it's going to perform. So we actually do identify a somewhat practical swimming problem that has sort of to do with polynomial interpolation, where our algorithm appears to get an exponential speed up over known classical algorithms. And the problem here is one that's studied in some cryptographic context, so we do have some reasons to think that it's hard. We also look at sort of completely unstructured optimization problems, and there we are able to find some sort of ensembles where we empirically seem to have an exponential advantage over some gold standard classical heuristics like simulated annealing. And yeah, we know in sort of an oracle setting that we have an exponent, like a relativized exponential speed up, even relative to some random oracles. I should also say something, there's probably many students in the audience. We do have an internship program. Every summer we take 30 to 40 students. They come, they spend 12 weeks working with researchers on our team, all in offices on the West Coast of the US, so Santa Barbara, Seattle, Venice Beach, or San Francisco. The goal is to conduct research with us and to write a paper. So we usually, applications open in November for positions in the summer. So you should think about applying then. We usually conduct interviews in December, January, make offers around February. It's a little bit strange when you apply, you go to the Google Careers website, and then there's something called the Student Researcher Program. And you just apply to a very generic application like Student Researcher Program North America. But as long as it's clear from your CV or like anywhere in your application that your interest is quantum or you have some background in quantum, our team is going to get your CV, believe it or not, and we'll review it and such. So there's other ways to work with us too. So of course, you could also join the team. If you go to quantumai.google, that's our team's website. You can go to the careers tab. There's currently like 23 positions listed, but check back regularly, especially in the first 2 quarters of the year. We tend to get headcount in the beginning of the year, and we open headcount then, and the hiring sort of tapers off towards the end of the year. So check back. Also, if you're an academic and you want to stay in academic, there are a lot of academics who have these sort of positions that kind of moonlight with us. They spend 20% of their time as members of the Google team. This includes a lot of people you probably know, like Alexei Katayev, Umesh Vazirani, Michael Friedman, Will Oliver, David Gossett, Robert Huang, a lot of other people too. So that's something that we do. And these people are really sort of members of our team. We also give a lot of grants to academics to sort of fund collaborations that are done in conjunction with us. We gave over $2 million of academic grants last year. So if you're sort of working on a project that is sort of a priority for our interests, especially if you're potentially collaborating with us, that's something that we can do. So that's really all I had to say. Here's a recent picture of the team. It's a great place to work. So you can talk to me about it at dinner or not, but that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Our second gold sponsor, so thank you for the session, is from Horizon Quantum Computing, represented by Dr. Angela Frank, who's the technical product manager. Don't worry, welcome to computers.
Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's been extremely nice to talk to you all on the corridor, to have met you all formally and informally, and to give a talk here on behalf of Horizon Quantum about the things that we are doing, and to also start discussions with you on how what we are doing can bring value to you. And this is really about conveying to you all the things that we are doing as a quantum software company to make quantum computing easier. So the previous talks really have set the stage in an amazing way to emphasize the development that is happening in quantum computing on the hardware side, on the software side. But if we look at the hardware innovation, it's really amazing to see this shift from a few years ago, where quantum computing was a big if statement, to quantum computing becoming really a question of when, capital letters. And with that coming up on the horizon, the question is, okay, what are the other barriers to actually mine value from quantum technologies, to actually expose this technology to relevant use cases? And this is really the point where Horizon begins. What are the places in which we can add accessibility for different kinds of domain experts? Currently, quantum experts are the people that can create applications. But how many more applications could we create if we actually would make quantum computing available to other experts, to other verticals? Another point that has been hindering our progress so far has been that hardware is quite diverse. This is on the one hand amazing, but it's also the bane of our field. There are so many different technologies that really finding a universal way of addressing them all, truly writing and then deploying hardware agnostic code, is just something that is not trivial at all yet. And that oftentimes makes it difficult to really write efficient quantum programs. And then lastly, talking about efficient quantum programs, the languages that we can currently use to program quantum computers are not yet at a level where it is necessarily easy to write applications that take more than a few thousands of gates to write. We oftentimes still have to code on a gate-by-gate level. And these gates are not always customizable in the way that we would need to actually express our problems. So imagine we could write code that is fast and efficient, that does not yet have to commit to whether or not we are writing it for classical or for quantum hardware, that we can feed into a compiler that will actually figure out whether there is a quantum speedup to be expected and whether there is no quantum speedup to be expected, divide these programs into different segments, and then compiles the part that can be expressed as a quantum circuit or quantum program to quantum computers, passing back and forth with a parallel processing capability. Secondly, imagine that you as a quantum expert audience have the tools to really program quantum computers in a way that is convenient for you, that is not just accessible, but also convenient and really optimizes your workflow. And in that way, really create much more cross connections between the different kinds of applications that we can actually mine, really create access for all kinds of different verticals. On the one hand, of course, the classical or the quantum expert community here, but also the amazing expert communities that do not yet have quantum expertise. Making these connections is a huge challenge, and it's definitely not an easy one, but it is what we are firmly committed to catering to developing and to targeting as a software company. Building a compiler chain where you can enter at different points and compile code at different points to these different layers or levels of abstraction of your problem statement or your solution statement. So of course, starting from the highest level, we look at classical programs, and in an ideal world, we could already refactor these and then classify them in terms of the kinds of speedup that we would want to expect or from different kinds of hardware. What we are here with today as Horizon, given that this is the long-term vision, is the milestones that we have been making or that we have been achieving on the way there. And that's the IDE, the web-based IDE Triple Alpha that we have been showcasing in the foyer to some of you, and that we will be showcasing for the rest of the week, and really cordially invite you all to test and experiment with, or just have discussions with us about. And this is a compiler tool chain, a web-based IDE. So it's not a Python package or anything like that. It's its own IDE, a web-based development environment in which you have programming languages that we developed that target different levels of abstraction. From a higher level to a gate level or assembly level that is Turing complete, down to really mapping your circuit then or your program then to any kind of hardware, any kind of quantum backend. And then, of course, deploying your program as an API or to the given hardware. Would be rather inconvenience if that was not part of the IDE. So I'm going to show you screenshots here, very well aware that this is an excerpt of the IDE here, very well aware that the font size is quite small. So please feel free to come by our booth to get into more in-depth conversations. But what I'm showing you here is the highest level of our IDE. It is the so-called Helium language. Helium is still a quantum language, so we are talking about developing a quantum backend or writing for a quantum backend in this IDE. Helium is our most abstract language that is similar to BASIC like syntax, for those of you who know the language BASIC. It means that we can design indefinite quantum programs within this language. We can use something like repeat until loops, if statements, coherent if statements, quantum if statements. We can define our own subroutines, and you can import classical code from C or C++ scripts into this language that is then being compiled to an actual quantum circuit. Meaning if you were to run this on a perfect quantum computer, you would actually attain the identical results to, for example, the classical description of this program. We do this via a so-called C2Q configuration file. On another level, and that's quite interesting if you want to figure out which kind of backend is quite useful or is most useful for you, there is a feature of this that allows you to quantify the resources on every level on which you want to program. So all of these languages are, I should mention on the side, or as a center point, are Turing complete. When we allocate or when we quantify the resources that you use for basically the kinds of quantum operations that you use in your program, we do so by unrolling your circuit up to the first branching point. So up until the first point that is not defined when you actually execute, when you call the program, but that is executed or that is acquired while you run the program. This kind of Turing completeness means that you can dynamically pass inputs back and forth and condition the branching, such inputs could be mid-circuit measurements, it could be dynamic user input, or it could be some kind of concurrent classical computation that you are running on the side. enabling you to, for example, think about a quantum error correction code, or maybe more directly try them out, experiment with them, and really dynamically update your circuit without having to, or your program in this case, because this goes beyond circuits, without having to manually rerun your circuits and manually update these parameters. What you can then see is on these different levels, quantification of your resources in terms of the quantum operations that you use. And you can define your instruction sets yourself. The instruction sets that you use to actually express your program, the language that you use. So in this case, it's a standard instruction set. So what you can see are Hadamard's, Toffoli gates, controlled NOT gates. But again, if you would define your own custom gates, that would be certainly something that's displayed in your resource quantification. Now you can see that this is the compilation to the gate level language, which is then a smooth expression of the identical program to what you see on the helium level, but expressed in terms of gates and in terms of flow control blocks to again enable this kind of dynamic control flow based on the advance and the execution of your program. Now at this point we are still hardware agnostic, meaning that at this point, based on the resources that you require for your program, you can deploy your hardware to different kinds of backends. And since this example here shows Grover's algorithm, which is quite hefty on the qubit count that you actually require, you can, for example, compile to IBM Brisbane or processors with more than 100 qubits. You can select a range of these hardware backends, and the compiler will make sure, or this IDE will make sure that the circuit is then expressed as, or in terms of the native gates of the given selected hardware. Based on that and based on this expression, which you see here now in our native internal intermediate representation, this code can be deployed or is deployable to the given quantum backend that is of interest to you. You can also quantify all of these resources on even the hardware level. Again, looking, for example, at the different connectivities of these processors to see, okay, how many swap gates depending on the kind of connectivity of your processor, what really is the smartest way of executing this program. And with this, once you deploy your program, I should probably mention the last effort that, or most recent progress that we are making towards really building like a compiler that allows many different axes of access. We have committed to building a hardware testbed in Singapore next to our headquarters, in which we follow something called a multi-vendor approach. So we are building the capabilities to, one, extend beyond a single QPU, to have several QPUs hosted on site, and to really go deep on the way in which we can talk to different ways of pulse level integration, different kinds of control electronics, and at the same time acquire an independence of certain kinds of cloud accessibility. And this really is here also to give developers that work with Triple Alpha full flexibility on the ways in which they want to talk to quantum computers, want to program them. Really building in a way a universal Swiss Army knife for this. The current QPU that we have committed to is the Rigetti Novera 9-qubit chip, together with Quantum Machines control systems, and we are looking to diversify our portfolio there in the future. So with this, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and we are all looking forward to talking to you more at our booth in the next coming days.
We have 4 short talks to finish from some of the Japanese companies working in the space. So our first speaker is Nagai-san, who's the general manager at the Materials Information Initiative, the R&D Technology and Digital Transformation Center at JSR Corporation. Please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Will, for kind introduction. I'm Tomoki Nagai from JSR Corporation, and I'm very happy to be here to give a talk today. I don't think many of you know who is JSR. So, but the JSR is a Japanese chemical company, and we are the leading supplier for some special chemicals, including photoresist. So photoresist is a very special chemical for the semiconductor chip manufacturing to create the very small patterns for the semiconductor circuit. So without photoresist, your cell phone or PC or even AI cannot be realized. Okay. So let me introduce myself. So again, I'm a general manager of the Materials Informatics Initiative. So that group is trying to make the R&D efficiency better in JSR. And also, I have many years experience to manage the material development for photoresist, as I mentioned. And also, I am working for some societies for the semiconductor area and also quantum computing area. So this is a semi-quantum computing council. I'm a co-chairman. And also the material area. Actually, it's a time to take the picture for the QR code for the conference, but MNC 2024 is coming. Actually, one of the OIST professor was invited for this conference. So again, JSR is a Japanese chemical company, and also it's a B2B chemical company. So you can find JSR materials for example, semiconductor manufacturing, as I mentioned, and also display manufacturing material, plus drug discovery, and also diagnosis application material. And also we are supplying the ABS plastics, for example, for the indoor housing of the car and also bumper. So this is a chart for the JSR sales. And as I mentioned, JSR is a Japanese chemical company, but the more than 60% of sales is happen in outside of Japan. So 40% is for, we call digital solutions, including photoresist, semiconductor material and also display material, and also life science business, 30% of the life science business, and also 20% of plastic business. So I would like to talk a little bit about the history of material discovery, photoresist. So again, photoresist is a key material for scaling for semiconductor, like Moore's law, as you know. And also the minimum pattern size has become 1/30 in 30 years, like this. So if you say, you may say, if you take a look at this chart, hey, today's semiconductor should be 3 nanometers and also 2 nanometers coming, but the actual size is a little bit bigger than that brand name. So it's like 10 to 15 nanometers. It's the latest one. The problem is the material discovery is very challenging. It's tough. So we'd like to utilize a quantum computer to find the best material for the, for example, photoresist. So to achieve that, we have some quantum activities. So this slide shows the papers we submitted, but I will not talk about the very detail of the technical part, but we are working for quantum chemistry. So this is for the this is to calculate the energies in the molecules and also optimization algorithms. So one point I would like to mention here is that these research had been done with many strong collaborators. One is Osaka University, and the one is QNASYS, a Japanese startup for the quantum, and also Mitsubishi Chemical, IBM, Keio University, Continental, and so on. Okay. So this slide is the most important slide for today's talk. So here's my expectations and the challenges for quantum computing. So again, our use case of quantum computing is quantum chemistry. to calculate the energy to predict the property of the materials and also chemical reactions. So, for example, for photoresist, we need photochemistry because the photoresist photoresist receives the light to create the patterns. So for the photochemistry, the excited state calculation is needed. And also, again, the photoresist chemistry is angstrom, that needs the angstrom scale precision. So highly accurate calculation is needed. What is challenges? So when will quantum advantage happen? So before the quantum advantage, for this specific application, we don't have to use a quantum computer. Just today's computer is enough. So we need to wait. We need to have the quantum advantage, of course. And also, how will the scaling continue after quantum advantage? This is also important. So my question is not which quantum computer happens faster, earlier in terms of the quantum advantage. My question is how to scale the performance. So for example, number of logical qubit, and also calculation speed, and so on. So as an industry, what we should be prepared. So one is a use case development, both for quantum chemistry, for us, quantum chemistry and others. Of course, we should consider the other application rather than quantum computing. Plus, quantum human resource development is necessary. So it's easy to say other application, but what is the other application for the quantum computer? So if you ask me that, I think, of course, AI is one practical application for the quantum computing. So as you know very well, the recent AI progress was driven by generative AI, and many of you already touched the generative AI. So this is my last slide, but this is an image created by ChatGPT-E. And also, it's just coincidence that the person this image look like me. So this is just a coincidence. But AI works in some area, in some sense, but not in the chemistry yet. For example, what is the best chemical structure of the photoresist? What is the best structure for the of the semiconductor or something? So I'm crossing my fingers for the great success of quantum computing. Thank you.
Now, next speaker is Nagai, and I apologize, who's going to talk to us about, who's from the Quantum Technology Promotion section of SoftBank. So please take it away. TopBank, sorry. Kiminasan.
Hi.
I apologize for my bad pronunciation. He is from the Quantum Technology Promotion section. Let's just. SoftBank, yes, SoftBank. Whoops, not quite.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Masahiko Kiminami. I'm in charge of business planning for quantum technology at SoftBank. As you know, SoftBank is a communications company, and 5G communication services are now being used in various situations in society and become an important part of social infrastructure. In response to this, in response to this, we are not just focusing on communications, but are conducting research and development with the aim of creating a new social infrastructure that utilize communication services under the concept of beyond carrier. In particular, my department is focusing on research and development of next generation computing infrastructure. One of the important challenges this infrastructure faces is the problem of power consumption. Machine learning requires a large amount of electricity, and this demand is expected to increase in the future. To solve this problem, we plan to build data center in rural areas. The aim is to decentralize the power consumption that is currently concentrated in large cities. We are also paying attention to quantum computing. It is expected that quantum computer will be able to process more complex calculation with much less power than conventional computers. However, at present, they lack error correction capabilities and their potential is not being fully realized. To overcome this, we have launched a project in collaboration with the Riken Institute. Riken is Rikagaku Kenkyūjō in Japan. This is a project to build a hybrid infrastructure that connects the supercomputer Fugaku with a quantum computer. It is expected that this will enable calculation that were previously impossible. In this project, Riken will be primarily responsible technical research and development. Our goal is to develop a platform that allows both companies and academia to take advantage of these advances. Next year, we plan to install IBM's superconducting quantum computer at Riken in Kobe, Hyogo. We also plan to install a trapped ion quantum computer in Wako City, Saitama Prefecture, the trapped ion quantum computer is manufactured by Quantinuum, a sponsor of this conference. We are looking forward to it. From now on, we will link the quantum computer with the supercomputer Fugaku and start research. The project is still in its early stages, and there is limited information that can be made public at this time. But we plan to hold an annual symposium to report on our progress. After this session, we would be happy to exchange business cards with those who are interested. Through this effort, SoftBank aims to use quantum technology to address social issues and contribute to a better future. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sorry for the confusion. Our next speaker is Mori-san, who's the staff scientist at Toppan Holdings, Inc. Please take it away.
Thank you for inviting me. I am Chihiro Mori, a member of Quantum Technology Strategy Section, Toppan Digital. I'll introduce our activity about quantum technology. This is the company profile of Toppan Group. Toppan is printing company. Toppan has established in 1900. We have more than 120 years history. Yet sales of Toppan is 1.5 trillion yen. Toppan is the largest printing company in the world. This is the history of Toppan. Toppan started its history with the printing technique, airhead letterpress. In the beginning, Toppan has selling tobacco packages, then commercial printing, secure printing, flexible package, building materials, electronic parts, IC card, and digital businesses. Toppan expertise in printing techniques is one of the most important competitive strengths. Taking this expertise as our foundation, we have established three main business segments: information and communication, living and industry, and electronics. So, why does a printing company want to start a quantum business? We think quantum computer will increase the efficiency in various operations and will lower the cost. Toppan has to take this chance to enhance business competitiveness and to get a step ahead of the rival companies. On the other hand, a quantum computer will cause a big problem. Quantum computing will decipher a conventional encryption system. This is a serious problem for Toppan. There are what we think about quantum computers. Toppan handles various sensitive and personal information in the ordinary course of businesses. Compromise of vital information misusing of quantum computing is a serious threat for us. Furthermore, quantum computing will enhance the operational efficiency and change competitive conductors. So we think we have to know the impact of quantum computers to Toppan and the world. We think this disruptive innovation will bring us a big business chance. And next, I will discuss Toppan's specific approach to quantum. This is the broad outline of our activities. We have started collaboration in main four applications: chemical calculation, information processing, combination or optimization, and security. In this presentation, I will discuss our quantum security efforts and our quantum chemical calculation efforts. And this is a collaboration with NICT and Canadian startup Aisara on PQC IC card. We have developed the world's first smart card equipped with post-quantum cryptography. We also confirmed the effectiveness by applying this PQC card to a testbed system that NICT, Toshiba, and collaborating teams have developed. TOPPAN prepares for replacing the current cryptography on IC card with post-quantum cryptography. We are also developing IC card equipped with quantum computer resistant encryption technology by leveraging our expertise in IC card manufacturing and development. And next, TOPPAN's effort in the field of quantum chemical calculation will be explained. I am participating in this project and conducting research and development of quantum algorithms with Osaka University. In the future, we aim to develop materials without experiments with the help of quantum power. In this way, quantum technology is a technology that has the potential to be utilized in a wide range of fields at TOPPAN. Finally, we would like to explain about the participating organization. TOPPAN belongs to several institutions and communities to gather information and find collaborating company on institutions. That's all. Thank you for your kind attention.
David is famous. Our last speaker from the session, Ando-san, from Skill Up Next, is one of the key parts of Japan's education program. So please, I don't think you need much introduction. Please tell us about.
Thank you. Thank you for introduction, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Allow me to introduce our company, Skill Up Next Ltd. Our company is dedicated to advancing human resource development across several key areas. We specialize in digital human resource development. Our company is dedicated to advancing human resource development across several key areas. We specialize in digital human resource development with a particular emphasis on AI and DX areas. Additionally, we offer consulting and system development service focused on data analysis and AI. Moreover, we are actively involved in green transformation or GX by developing human resources to address environmental challenges. We will also focus on human resource development in the field of quantum technology, which is the subject of today's talk. And now, yes, let me take a moment to introduce myself briefly. My name is Ryosei Ando. I'm a data scientist and instructor at Skill Up Next Ltd. And I am also a PhD student. Now, I'm a PhD student on Tokyo University of Science. My professional work, I serve as an instructor for AI training and focusing on human resource development about quantum technology at QC. And in my academic research, I specialize in mathematics, particularly in branch of algebra known as commutative ring theory. Next, I talk about our work in digital and green education. We have promoted DX and GX green transformation within Japanese industry. In the field of DX, we were the first educational program to be accredited by the Japan Deep Learning Association, JDLA. And in the GX domain, we ran a certification exam called the GX certification test, which is recognized by the Ministry of the Environment. It's important to note that DX and GX is inherently complementary. GX must leverage the power of digital technology to effective, and at the time, DX technologies should be implemented with a mindful approach to their environmental impact. Moreover, the industrial application of quantum technology holds the potential to significantly accelerate DX while reducing power consumption. Then, in the field of quantum education, we are actively collaborating with OIST and QST to develop content, including lectures and hands-on workshops. Also, in the field of computing, the expansion of cloud services on platforms like AIST, ABCIQ, significantly lowers the barriers to applying quantum technology. We believe that education on these advancements is also very important. Our goal is to promote an education that strikes a balance between understanding the theoretical foundation of quantum technology, like the why aspect, and mastering in particular applications, the how to use aspect. To accelerate the industrial application of quantum technology, it's crucial to both recruitment and train experts with in-depth knowledge, and to provide basic education and raise awareness of quantum technology among a broader audience. Neither professional training or non-public education should be neglected. Without expert, innovative technology cannot be developed. Conceivably, without business people who are interested in quantum technology, the expertise and innovation of these experts may remain unused. We must convey not only the importance of quantum, but also the fun of quantum to business people. Therefore, it's essential that we convey not just the importance of quantum technology, but also the excitement and potential it holds to business professionals. To achieve this, we need to develop engaging content that captures their interest. I invite all of you here and others who are passionate about quantum technology to join us in this, to make these contents. Thank you very much.
So let's thank all the speakers from this panel session plus this industrial session. I believe there's only one last job for this evening, and that I believe is dinner, isn't it, David? So I would not delay. I think dinner is in the usual place. Yep. So a few of us will lead you up that way, so please follow us. And what time do we start again in the morning? So please be here by 9. Thank you very much, and please enjoy your evening.